Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
The Doctor of Discernment is now online.
You know, much like my show, in that it's a local reaction to things that are happening on a federal level.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Wow, do I have a boatload of stuff for you, from the crazy to the absurd. Let's start getting into it because, I mean, it is bizarro world out there. And I say, if it's obvious to me, should be obvious to everybody. Oh, wow. Who could have seen this coming?
This is the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage.
Hold on to your butts.
Broadcasting from my basement bunker beneath Kello Radio. Welcome to the Fourth Hour. It is great to have you along. So the president is speaking in front of the UN right now, and I pulled it up, and he was in the midst of it, and I just didn't want to roll the whole audio. I wanted to spend more time, you and me. So let's talk about Marco Rubio was highlighting what the president plans to address. And we'll talk about this in more detail coming up tomorrow on the Greg Belfrage Show. But the president planning to call, and I love this, by the way, call on the UN to live up to their purpose. What the president is going to do is challenge the UN to find its meaning and its purpose and its utility as an organization, because it doesn't seem to be doing the job, and it's pretty good at spending a lot of money. yeah, putting it lightly. The Biden administration sent $18 billion to the United Nations. And this is Town Hall saying this, most of it funneled to terrorist organizations and so on. The president signed an executive order ending taxpayer funding of UN groups. So it'll be interesting to see what happens today with the president. What is Marco Rubio here saying? This is his appearance this morning on Fox and Friends. This is Marco Rubio.
We haven't seen the letter. We don't have that letter. And even if we did, it wouldn't matter. The president has already made clear he's not interested in 60 days, 10 people. He wants all the hostages out, all 48, including the 20 who are alive, 28 who are deceased. He wants them all. There should have never been any. Why are we even talking about hostages? Why do we still have to talk about hostages at this point? There shouldn't be any. They should all be released immediately, period. That's the president's position. So he would have rejected that offer had it come, but we haven't seen that letter. I think they gave it to the media or somebody, but they haven't given it back.
This is a letter I mentioned this morning. It was trending, actually, so I shared it during Bill's News Gallery. And I even mentioned on the air this morning that they're saying, okay, we'll of the remaining 40 plus hostages, we'll release half of those if this. And I'm like, why are we piecemealing this? And this is what Marco Rubio is saying. We want all of the hostages, and we want them now. We're not going to play these games, because that's what they are. It's just absolutely childish games that these people are playing. So we'll see what the president winds up telling the UN. We're learning more about it. The president will highlight the return of American strength, talking about the failures of globalism during his address to the UN today. So this is coming from the White House, who gave a short preview. President has effectively restored American strength on the world stage. His historic speech at the UN General Assembly will highlight his success in delivering peace on a scale that no other president has accomplished, while simultaneously speaking bluntly about how globalist ideologues risk destroying successful nations around the world. Absolutely. Absolutely. Amen. I think that's going to be powerful. So we'll talk about that coming up on the show tomorrow. That'll be big news today. President at the UN. Jimmy Kimmel is the story that just won't won't go away. This I didn't know. Threats of leftist violence and ugliness menace to anyone wishing to commemorate the life of Charlie Kirk. Now, remember, Sinclair Broadcast Group had said when they pulled the Jimmy Kimmel show last week that they were going to broadcast a tribute to Charlie Kirk in that same time slot, in Jimmy Kimmel's time slot. That's what they announced. They didn't do it. The reason is multiple ABC affiliates received a number of credible threats to their people and their facilities prior to Friday's scheduled airing of the tribute. So they were going to do it Friday, and because of the threats, they didn't want to damage their facilities or their staff, understandably. So it's just instead, they said it would be instead available on the National News Desk's YouTube channel, ensuring viewers can continue to enjoy ABC programming while also providing full access to the special online. So they had been planning to air it, but you had people threatening. They pulled Jimmy Kimmel off the air. This is what the left does. So what the left does is they threaten facilities, threaten harm to employees. What do you do? Sinclair Broadcasting was between a rock and a hard place. Hardly a surprise now that Sinclair says, even though Jimmy Kimmel is coming back on the air, they're not going to be broadcasting the show tonight. So, don't know if there's anything. Now, the Post-Millennial reports that Friday, minutes before the tribute was to air, the stations conceded to multiple threats of violence by deciding not to air the tribute and instead posting it to YouTube. What would you do in that situation? I'd love to see your thoughts on that in the comments. What would you do in that situation? Okay, you got threats coming in to the station, your employees. What do you do? Okay, this story cracks me up. This is you remember Matthew Dowd? This is the MSNBC analyst who got fired for his comments about Charlie Kirk following the assassination. So we had the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and moments later, you had Matthew Dowd just saying the dumbest things. He winds up getting fired for it. Now Matthew Dowd is out there. Wait, what excuse me. How is it that Jimmy Kimmel is back on the air, but I'm still fired? Hilarious. So he was perplexed by how so many flocked to Kimmel's defense, but nobody flocked to his. Town Hall says, "Are you for real, sir?" So he was complaining to Katie Couric about this last week, apparently. Let's see what his comments were. I don't know how long this is. Let's take a look.
What's amazing, and now if you watch any of their shows in the last 24 hours, all the shows are talking about how, like, this is awful for America that Jimmy Kimmel was, indefinitely suspended, and isn't this awful for America, and it's a chilling thing for the First Amendment, and all they're saying that on every platform. Not one person has said anything about me. Not one person on that network has said. They've all gone out of their way to say, isn't this horrible what happened to Jimmy?
Nobody's saying anything about me. Oh, good riddance, my friend. That is just absolutely too rich. And then this just, I have seen the news reports regarding this. Town Hall talking about Zoran Mamdani, who is the socialist mayoral candidate in New York City, and he canceled a town hall event on ABC to protest the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel's late night show. And I listened to this guy. I'm reaching for the barf bag every time I listen to him. And this is absolutely incredible. Oh yeah, this is Donald Trump, and this is what Donald Trump and evil Donald Trump out there and what he's doing to poor Jimmy Kimmel and freedom of speech. He's trashing it. Oh, you have got to be kidding. So he's refusing to go onto ABC as a result of this. We cannot be free if we are subservient to those who abuse power for their own ends. Can you imagine about those that will be subservient to this guy's ends if he winds up winning that election in New York? We cannot understand this moment of authoritarianism as solely coming from the White House, when it's also a moment characterized by the cowardice of those in response to it. The cowardice that we have seen typified, whether by the parent company of ABC or by so-called leaders like Andrew Cuomo, Eric. Oh, man, this guy is just, I mean, seriously, I have difficulty making my way through an entire speech of Zoran Mamdani's. It's just like, man, it's a trip into the Twilight Zone each and every time you listen. Also, one of the other things this morning, and this will be big news, we'll see what happens. Got South Dakota lawmakers, there they are. You can see them. Expected to decide whether to build that new men's prison in Sioux Falls. So that special session is underway. It started earlier this morning, I think. Okay, 9:10, the Senate convened. 9:02, the House had convened. So we'll see what happens. It's a big story today. I know Tom Rooney is working on it fairly diligently today, trying to cover what's going on with that. And then you and I will wind up talking about it. So I've got to believe, depending on what happens, we'll see whether or not that's going to will be a big story. But have you been surprised by the I think I've been pretty vocal about this. I think the state needs a new prison. No question about that. The state has been in need of a new prison now for quite a while. It's about time that we undertook this. I understand that it's expensive. It's going to be an expensive proposition. Yeah. It's unfortunate that we need the prison, but it's just reality. So we'll see what happens during the legislative session today. All right, you have made it to the end of the video, so you are part of my gallery of champions. Special salute to the Bunker Brigade. Those are the folks who are here each and every day. You see their comments. I'm taking a look at some of them. And I look at them afterward every time. So thank you for sharing your thoughts. I appreciate them. We're going to leave it there for today. I will see you again tomorrow. Until then, I'm Underground and Gola.